So hi Andreas,
Hello.
we're here on the Endorphins booth and
Yeah.
we're going to look at your new modules, right?
All right, so it's Superbooth 2024 and we are presenting two new modules. As you know, before we were doing like different pedals, and right now we went back to the roots. We are presenting two new products. It's called the new Godspeed. It's a 6 HP instant auto-tuning oscillator with a through zero, with analog wave shapers, with a MIDI control, with a pitch lock, and with all that kind of West Coast and East Coast influences. And the second product we have here is the Autopilot, is our dual auto-tuner that we had before, but right now it is available in a small 6 HP compact format. It's an IntelliJ format, so for people who need for tuning for analog oscillators. So like from all our inspiration, that how when we grew up on the Western like musical scene, and we always try to implement some musical stuff in our modules. It means that kind of we always try to, like, starting from the first generators, we had the tuners that were not auto-tunable, but at least they showing how you can tune, because if you want to play some melodies, because of course you can just detune and just play blips and blobs, but for those, if you can maintain some kind of melodical content. And that is kind of became the motto of our company throughout the years. So after the further generator, we did Autopilot, which means like an auto-tuning. So you have imagine you have a pitch CV from your oscillator going into the Autopilot. You have the reference waveform, any spare waveform from another oscillator, or from the same oscillator, but because usually oscillators have a few waveforms, and you just like plug it into the tuning, and you see that it just shows you if it's like below the reference note or after the reference note. And in general, the problem like with oscillators, with analog oscillators, that you have like a keyboard, you have pitch CV, and going through the sequencers, through the MIDI CV, and there is always offset. It's always offset goes like, so you need to find the proper, that the note you pressing on the keyboard, it just corresponds to the proper oscillators. And lots of people throughout the years, they try to solve it, with the guitar tuners, with some kind of with the FFT analyzers, just finding the proper, or just with the ears, of course, but imagine that we are not always have our...
Well, sometimes you can't hear, right? Sometimes you're in a gig and you don't have good monitoring.
Yeah, not everyone has a perfect hearing, it's normal. And when you are especially during the gig, and you can even like during the gig, you can turn off that voice, you can tune it with slowly, and then you can enter back. I mean, different situation happens. Imagine you are in the concert, people, so you are just warming up, then people arrived, they are breathing, the temperature in the venue
changes, yeah.
Of course it's like normal. So basically what we have here, let's start with the Autopilot, because it's very simple. And I have here the simple melody with a further generator acting as a stereo oscillator, like left and right, and they goes into the go. So I have a simple voice. And I have a pitch CV, the same pitch CV I applied to both oscillators, and they attract the same oscillators. But imagine if I just accidentally touched or detune it, it's just like I have a mess. So what I'm doing, and I'm just like pressing here the tune, and they are in the perfect tune. So now you just do. So basically, just out of just two pressing of the buttons, like for each of the oscillators, I tune them to the reference A note, and before I press the reference A note on my MIDI CV keyboard, like sequencer acting as a MIDI CV. So that's a kind of a very simple one, but I mean, it's not simple. We did it like 7 or 8 years ago, and it was like using the feedback of oscillator and adding a bit of offset, so you're always in the perfect thing. And the auto-tuners also help us instantly to calibrate the oscillators, so it's always you need to spend lots of time for that, and then visual control, it helps you a lot with that. What we have now is a new Godspeed. The new Godspeed was based on our also auto-tuning technology.
Because that was built into the original Godspeed as well, wasn't it? The auto-tune.
Yeah, exactly. But basically, in original Godspeed, there were basically it was a strong zero oscillator from the first generator with the wave shapers from the first generator, and also extra autopilot built in. So that means was like two processors, and one processor was listening to another. And it took lots of time to track in the lower frequency. And actually, if you see lots of even like analog polyphonics, like right now that on the market, they have all lots of problems of controlling low range. So it's just really hard to control them. That's where we come in with the Autopilot. So Autopilot is we call it instant auto-tuning oscillator. Why instant? Because it's already knows where frequency you are, and only thing that you need to press a proper note on your keyboard. We just play it on the track. Let's put it. Okay, so we have here the Godspeed, and what we do is like. I will put off the effects. And imagine I'm just like on the A note here, and I need to know that A note is exactly that one. I just press button, it instantly works. I mean, just like, let's do it again. I will put. So that's instantly there. And that means, what means in the end? I start to play any MIDI material, anything, and it will be in tune with all my instruments that are perfectly tuned. So that will be like instantly, not synchronized, I mean, it will be in scale. So, and that's very important because when playing with Eurorack, you always have different voices, and it's always unpredictable because lots of cables. Some cable can be like lost.
Wrapped around the cable can be wrapped around the
yeah.
potentiometer.
Some people can come and just
exactly,
take the cable off. You know, it's like it happens. It's life. But right now, it's how we can control it. So. With the new Godspeed, we have basically we can use it in two options. So we have a MIDI. So and you know the new TRS MIDI protocol. So it's I'm sorry, I mean it's not a protocol. It was like basically the MIDI, the normal MIDI DIN jacks, but the people started to use them with the TRS stereo jacks. And then we have a problem that like some companies started to do it standard A and other standard B. And as always, like it's like 50 by 50, and it's like it's a mess as always. So behind on the module behind we have a switch, and each of the MIDI input and MIDI through, you can select either it's a standard A or standard B, because right now you simply cannot go choose a standard. You have to work it, and to make it properly with the MIDI, with the current sync, it's better to have it with a switch, because automatic detection is kind of very hard goes. So we can use a MIDI, or instead we can use a pitch CV. So, and it works together. So basically with the MIDI you can play notes, with the vote per octave you can add a bit of LFO, a bit like proportionally you can get a vibrator. And it's super easy to control, it doesn't need to warm up. So once you tune it, it just works. And the super cool feature is here, is a pitch knob lock. So you press twice, and now you just can tweak the pitch CV as a pitch knob, and you will not just change the thing. So that means that you can instantly right now like hang on your patch. You can go on performance, and it just will not break anything. Like look, for example, I press the A note, and it's just exactly like the two LEDs. It means that it is exactly we are in the sharp A, not in sharp A, in the A. And if I just turn it off and I turn it on, and I press, I'm sorry. And I press the A note, it was from the sequencer. It shall remain the same, so it without anything, so it just without warming up, or you just like once on a startup, you just lock in it, and you just tune it, and it will remain exactly the same. And MIDI through it also selectable from A to B standard, so you have your MIDI chain of signals, you just passing by, and you go through all your oscillators. Like right now, lots of oscillators, like for example, like Nobula, like more companies, they implement the TRS, and it's kind of very handful for using some kind of melodical content, especially. And now about the wave shapers. So wave shapers, we wanted to have our to maintain the further generator wave shapers. So we have the analog wave folder in the sine fold output, and we have also even odd output, which is the mixture of different like wave with even harmonics and odd harmonics. So it's basically like sine and fold does more like a West Coast stuff, and even odd makes more melodic content. It recreates more or less like a Stage 101 voice, let's say, with added noise. So we can add a bit of noise, and we can change the octaves of the sub-oscillator because the sub-oscillator pre-patched. And of course, since we have MIDI through the secondary function, we can select the MIDI channel on which the oscillator accepts the MIDI data. So I would just make a small jam. I'm not sure what it is there. Is it from us, right?
No, that drone's not. There we go.
I think it's from neighbors, because I think it's like, is it ours? All right, let's make a very small jam. I'm showing right now how the wave folder works, and another thing, I'm showing how the FM index works, because in the new Godspeed we have extra modulator. It's a kind of virtual sine wave modulator is built into its tracks the same frequency that allows us to maintain to obtain like a through zero instant modulation sounds, like a very famous like aggressive modulations, like aggressive sounds without using like any distortions or something, but using like a synthesis. And there is a sine wave internal modulator, so when nothing is plugged into the through zero FM input, there is a sine wave is modulating internally, and it does very clean and very dark sounds. Let's hear. So we have here just a pure sine wave. We have here the wave folder, and then we have the FM index. And with the odd even output, we can basically receive some acid and all the classical synthesizer waveforms.
It sounds really different to the original.
It sounds a bit more acid, because it was a bit more pure waveforms, but in the end it's just the same.
Yeah, the sine and fold sounded very similar, but the odd and even sounded slightly different.
But that one sound. So you have more hollow sounds with a square wave, and you have more warm sounds, but more ACD, more something like that, with even odd.
Brilliant. Well, so when are you hoping to have them out, and do we have a final price yet?
Yes, exactly. About the price. So, in the recent years, the synthesizer industry had lots of jumpy situation. There was like lots of crises passing by, and we just had a crisis of the chips including, and then also there was oversaturation of the market. There was like kind of lots of hard moments. But right now, since the chips crisis is past, we managed to make the Godspeed at a very affordable price. It will be $200 US or 200 euros, including VAT, and the Autopilot will be at 65 US and 65 euros, including VAT. So with that pricing, we really hope that it will be like people to have a really it's really important to be in tune and to be like sometimes people want to play with modular melodic stuff, and just simple bass lines goes out of focus, out of hands when you just like not getting it right, you know, and it's just temperature and so on and so on. And I think with our tools and with this new oscillator, you can really be all the time and just deliver the banging stuff.
Amazing. Andreas, thank you very much.
It is available on pre-order from all the stores all over the world, including our own store on our website, and it will be available from 12th of June. Everything is shipping. It's like the production is basically finishing. We're returning from Superbooth, and we package everything and ship it out.
Brilliant. Andreas, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Ed. Thank you.